Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Ecadela Marcos. I'm the Director of Communications for the Boy Scouts of America, and we will be introducing you shortly to Michael Serbaugh, Chief Scout Executive of Boy Scouts of America, Aaron Eisner, Chief Strategy Officer for the Boy Scouts of America, and Dr. Janet Warren, who will be taking a few minutes to address youth protection in the Boy Scouts of America. After their remarks, we will, as the operator noted, be taking questions as time allows. With that, Mr. Serbaugh, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Effie. This is Mike Serbaugh, Chief Scout Executive of the Boy Scouts of America. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And I'm here to correct inaccuracies and mischaracterizations about our organization, and more importantly, the efforts that we've taken to protect youth. That has been and continues to be our absolute top priority. First, I want to reiterate our steadfast support for victims of abuse. We are outraged that there have been times when individuals took advantage of our programs to abuse innocent children. We care deeply about all victims of child abuse and sincerely apologize to anyone who was harmed during their time in scouting. We believe victims, we support victims, and we pay for unlimited counseling by a provider of their choice, and we encourage them to come forward. In 2018, there were 5 known victims of sexual abuse in our scouting programs at a time when there were 2.2 million youth in those programs. We steadfastly believe that even one incidence of abuse is one too many, and we are continually improving all of our policies to prevent and protect children from abuse. Experts note that among the general U.S. population, 1 in 6 men have experienced sexual abuse or assault at some point in their lives. This is an unacceptable public health problem that must be addressed, and we seek to be part of the solution along with all other youth-serving organizations. Our volunteer screening database is a mechanism for keeping kids safe. I'd like to share with you a few facts. All instances of suspected abuse are reported to law enforcement. We do not keep any reports of suspected abuse secret or hidden from the proper authorities. Long before there were smartphones, email, the internet, criminal databases, or other modern methods available to us now to help identify and track predators, the BSA took a vital step to help protect children from bad people by creating what is known as the Ineligible Volunteer Files, or the IV files. The purpose of those files was to ensure that anyone who was seen as unfit to be a leader, even those that were not charged or convicted of any crime, would be removed and banned forever from our program. The creation of those files was just the first step in what has been many in the BSA's development of a comprehensive set of strategies designed to provide the best possible youth protection system. Today, record keeping or databases such as ours are recommended by experts, including the CDC, as an important step in protecting children. While it has often been misunderstood and criticized, time and time again, those IV files have successfully prevented potential predators from rejoining our organization and gaining access to youth. That is precisely why we've been maintaining those records since the 1920s, long before those other modern methods were available. We have a very low threshold for removing someone from our scouting programs. Individuals are added to our volunteer screening database based on suspected or known violations of our policies. They don't need to have been arrested or convicted of a crime to be added to this database. This is because our priority is to protect kids, first and foremost, above all else. It is an ongoing tool to keep children safe from potential predators. Now, at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Janet Warren. Dr. Warren is a professor from the University of Virginia and a prominent researcher and expert in sexual crimes against children. Dr. Warren has spent her career analyzing and profiling sexual offenders and serves as a University of Virginia liaison to the FBI Behavioral Services Unit. The BSA engaged Dr. Warren in 2011 to review the files maintained in our volunteer screening database and analyze ways that the BSA could further improve its youth protection efforts. The BSA publicly released Dr. Warren's first report in 2012. In our efforts to continually be on the forefront of youth protection, the BSA asked Dr. Warren to continue her work and evaluation of our database and barriers to abuse. She is in the final stages of that report. Dr. Warren has reached a number of conclusions as the work has progressed, and we've asked her to be here today to speak to her work with us. Dr. Warren.
Good afternoon. I would like to speak about the body of work I've done for the BSA since my initial report in 2012 and provide context to some of the figures presented in the media. I received full, complete, and unredacted files from the BSA that have been commonly referred to as the confidential files, the perversion files, or as the BSA now refers to them, the volunteer screening database. My team of over 30 researchers analyzed the data to see what attributes, patterns, or profiles could be gleaned from the incidents. We've made several key observations, and we're in the process of finalizing our work. I would like to share some of the most salient findings today. First, one of the key observations we made is that the data demonstrated that the scouting program is safe and that the BSA's use of a database to prevent unsuitable adults from accessing children was cutting edge and that it's worked. It's been in place for almost 100 years and it has worked very well. Even through the years when there were no computers, the BSA's efforts were effective in keeping unsuitable volunteers from gaining access to youth in the scouting program. Also, it's very important to realize that the rate of incident of reported abuse in the BSA programs is far less than the rate of the incidence of sexual abuse of children in society as a whole. And most importantly, this data shows that the BSA's youth protection efforts since the 1980s have been highly effective in preventing abuse. Second, there was no evidence of cover-up by the Boy Scouts of America based upon our review. 100% of all the cases reported over the last 50 years have been reported to law enforcement. Additionally, as experts in this area agree, there's no profile of an offender that can be discerned from the data. The research underscores the importance of moving beyond simplistic and overly inclusive explanations of child sexual abuse. And this is really the effort that we've been working on with these data to understand the more complex dynamics of this abuse. And finally, the research underscores the need for a national database for persons unsuitable to work with youth, similar to the one that the BSA has used for almost 100 years. Criminal record checks and sex offender registries based simply on criminal convictions are inadequate to protect against offenders who have never been arrested or convicted.
To build on Dr. Warren's findings and introduce the Boy Scouts of America's pledge to youth safety and call to action, I would like to now introduce Erin Eisner.
Good afternoon. My name is Erin Eisner, and I'm the BSA's Chief Strategy Officer. I'm also a mom of 2 active Scouts. My daughter and son are both members of Scouts BSA. And I'd like to pick up where Dr. Warren left off to discuss what we're doing today to help keep kids safe, both inside and outside of Scouting. While our database has served to keep millions of children safe in our Scouting programs, we've learned a lot over the years, and we want to share that with other youth-serving organizations. We know that our policies and barriers to abuse can help prevent child sex abuse throughout our communities and across all organizations. Experts agree that one of the most effective ways to prevent predators from having access to children is to track data on those individuals who have violated youth protection policies or have even been suspected of violating those policies. Specifically, the Center for Disease Control looked at the issue of keeping kids safe in youth-serving organizations back in 2007, and they noted that databases such as the one that BSA is using are a recognized method of protecting children from predators. Now, as you've already heard today, the BSA has employed this practice since virtually the inception of our organization. We are eager to share the information contained in our database with other youth-serving organizations, and that's why we've advocated and we will continue to push for the creation of a national database to serve as a clearinghouse for all youth-serving organizations. Our vision, and one that's shared by others who are working diligently in this space to protect youth, is that all youth-serving organizations would be required to track and document those adults who have harmed children or who have even been suspected of harming children, and report this information into a national registry. Similar to the National Sex Offender Public website that's maintained by the Department of Justice, Our goal is the creation of a registry for those who seek to work with children. This would reduce the risk that potential abusers could gain access to children by moving from one organization to the other after they've already been removed. We're working with other groups and other organizations, such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the CDC, the University of Virginia, and others, to see how we can assist in this critical development. We've also called on Congress to partner with us in these efforts and to develop legislative mechanisms to facilitate this national database into a reality. We're optimistic about these efforts because we know they make a difference. We've seen it firsthand in our own programs and the impact that they've had in our steps to protect children. Children in scouting programs today are safe. Millions of children participate in and benefit from the character building and leadership activities in our programs without incident. Parents can be confident in our program today and be proud of our efforts to protect children while they learn, while they have fun, and while they experience scouting as it was intended. I'm confident in this. I'm an executive with the BSA, but first and foremost, I'm a mother. My heart breaks for any child that has experienced the tragedy and trauma of abuse. If I felt for a second that scouting was unsafe, I would not be associated with nor advocate for the BSA. To the contrary, I'm confident in our program and confident in our efforts to protect children. My own daughter and son participate in scouting locally in a dynamic and safe troop here in Dallas with kind and trustworthy leaders. I have no reservations about their participation, and I'm so excited to see more and more children across our country, including record numbers of young women, be introduced to the scouting program.